Popsgate, can you put me next to Mud Rabbit, please?
I'll try to do that. All right, for sure. Moonbeam, if you could fix your Avi, that'll be great. You're showing up as a white circle.
Oh, she has to put a picture there, is what you're trying to ask her to do. Okay. Is that what you're
Yeah,
trying to ask her?
yeah.
Okay.
If she's able to
You
do that,
can't
yeah.
have the default picture is what he's asking you to do. So you can put anything up there just as long as it's not the default picture.
What? Wait, what? I'm confused.
No, he's talking to somebody else, I think.
So I can leave my camera on my Mud Rabbit. Is this okay?
Yeah,
So that
sure.
would be hitting the three dots, edit avatar, edit audio avatar. If you just want to add a picture, you'll hit the plus sign and you'll upload like a grass scene or something, or whatever you choose to put. There you go. I think it's working now.
Oh, I just brought her up so she can communicate. If she's able to there.
Mud
Um,
There
Rabbit,
she
I want to be
is.
next to you, Mud Rabbit.
He'll try to fix it when he gets a chance, sweetie. Hold on.
So
But
I
we're
wanted
trying to get back
Mud
on
and Moon to
topic.
meet each other.
What, Zero?
Oh, thank you very much, Moon. I wanted Mud and Moon to actually meet each other. Thank you very much, Prop. And I was trying to get back on topic as well.
Hi, Moon.
Hey, everybody. Long time since I've been on StreamYard.
There you go.
Es-
Welcome.
Excuse me, Moon. Can you be my third YouTube mom, please? I'm sorry.
Sure, be glad to.
Welcome to the chat.
Thanks. What are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about Minecraft movie.
No, we were talking about the shift and how many people seem to be waking up. It is called the Great Awakening, and how some people are not getting it.
And we have one of those, for example. So, thank you, Mr. Prop, for allowing everything to transgress. So, please, if you choose to.
yeah. No problem. We're talking about consciousness, spirituality, anything under that topic. You have anything to open it up with, Ms. Moonbeam?
No, I think I'll just let you guys talk and jump in if I feel like I have anything positive to add, if that's cool.
Yeah. So I was bringing up earlier that the other day I was feeling very tired, and I was told that that usually happens when we have a shift. So the next day, after I got my rest, I went about my day, and I noticed a cafe that I never noticed in this particular area before. And then after that, I noticed a street sign that this is all in the area that I'm usually at, and I just never noticed these things until the next day. When someone told me that I'm tired because I'm about to shift or something. What do you think about shifting?
I think that's a symptom.
What you think
Maybe
it's
Yeah,
a symptom of him just
it's a symptom of
being
the Great
aware?
Awakening. It's a
That's why I
symptom of
don't call it the
awakening.
Mandela effect. I call it the Mandela event.
Well, like I said before, there are several symptoms that you have when you're downloading enough. You can't have an ascension or a shift until you gain the knowledge. Sometimes that knowledge is downloaded directly and you get it in form of revelations throughout the day, little mini awarenesses. But usually the symptoms are tiredness, being a scatterbrain, forgetfulness, headaches, and pains in the neck and shoulders, tight muscles.
Hopefully, that was technical difficulties.
Oh, I think Noelle ejected her out. No, I'm just joking. No. Well, yeah, I wonder what happened to her. She bounced out here. Probably
Yeah,
to.
I think that was technical difficulties.
Yeah. I think she should be back soon, hopefully. Mm,
Hopefully.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for bringing her on. She sounds like she's going to be a good speaker up here with us. Hopefully
Yeah,
get here.
she's probably trying to fix technical difficulties, or she got a call because she's probably a busy woman. But the reason why is because I noticed a lot of similarities between her and Mud Rabbit, of the way that they think. Not to knock on anybody, I'm just bringing two people that are extremely similar together, and hopefully there can be some discernment between them so that I can find the differences between them because I mistake them for each other.
Long lost twins.
Yeah, literally. I'm not joking, Moonbeam. And you know how you see things and I see things. And I've always been very walking on eggshells around her like I walk around eggshells with you.
Oh, I don't mean to make you feel like that.
Oh, I just do it because of Topa. Oh, I need to be quiet. But I didn't say the E word, Prop. You can't get mad. I didn't say any of the E words. I said a T word. And we're talking about spirituality if I say Topa. If I say an E word, that means I went against. Hold on. I had the rules right here. I had the rules right here.
Got to print it out right in front of them. That's dedication.
Right.
Was it 4?
Yeah, Moonbeam, where'd she go?
I swore. Yeah, it's 4. It's 4 part B. Yes, sir. It's 4 part B. Yes, sir.
Okay, the line item there.
Even bullet points. There you go.
You know, man. I do spiritual afterlife paperwork, so mundane paperwork's simple for me. Go ahead.
And you know what's weird is that not too long ago, and you're gonna think I'm just saying this, I literally thought of what you said. I thought of it in my head. I was thinking of my own rules, and I was thinking of this whole thing, pretty much, like 4B, like you just said. I was thinking of that.
And that
Crazy, right?
4B specifically says, do not mention anything about the E, or else you will be banned permanently. There is no comebacks.
For sure. Just me will come in, listening in the background there. Feel free to come up if you could follow the guidelines. Is in the description box. Where's
Oh, kayaking.
Moonbeam?
Yeah, Jacob does some kayaking videos that are a lot of fun.
Oh, Mr. Waters kayaks there, huh?
Mr. Wilders.
I do here and there.
Yeah, it's turning into a bit of a story at this point.
What is?
Your kayaking adventures.
What do you mean? Why is it a story?
Well, it's developing. It's in development. You know, there's Bridge Bear.
Yeah.
There's a chapter on Bridge Bear.
That's probably one of my favorite stories.
Yeah,
there's
that's my favorite chapter.
There's bear circles. There's bridge beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones. A
Yeah.
lot of late night campfires on YouTube in the middle of
Yeah.
the woods, wondering if farmers are going to walk up on me with guns. Yeah, it's a weird time.
It's fun. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Does Moonbeam have a channel? I'm putting everybody in the description box. Your channel will be clickable there. Let's see. Chris Zero, I'm gonna put you in there right now.
Oh, yeah. Remember to do 408 after Curse 0,
Oh, okay.
and you get both of my channels.
Oh, nice.
So, like, you have the Curse 0, and then you just put 408 after the number 0, and then you have both of my channels right behind.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
You made me think of Pitbull, Mr. 305.
I can just hook you up in the private chat. Give me 45 seconds.
The mind is
See,
knocking at the door
yeah,
too.
Sag mentioned it earlier. Shifts, low energy, mood swings, underwater. Yeah. Feeling like you're walking through mud.
No pun intended, right?
No, literally, that's how you feel. You're dragging your backside. There's also biorhythms. I follow my biorhythms because the secondaries are very interesting, but the physical, it's right on the number, right on the nose.
Oh, man,
Mhm.
I have a conversation with my immune system every day to tell me what the flipper's going on.
Oh, well, oh,
check out your biorhythms and compare them to how you feel any given day, and it's really interesting.
I said flipper, Mr. Crop.
oh, right, right. What was your channel again? I can't find it in here. Curse, can you see me on the screen?
I threw it in the private chat from StreamYard, sir.
Okay, for sure.
I'll flip my tongue around properly again.
Welcome to mine. How you been?
Hello. Is he
Yeah, you
muted?
Hello,
notice
hello,
how you
hello.
just have that channel and then you have 408 right underneath of it? That's both my channels.
Yeah, I'm doing
Okay.
good. Hey, Chris Zero. It's nice to see you again. I don't know if you remember me. I we I think we met on Jacob. I think his name's Jacob, or no, not Jacob. What's his name? Whatever 444.
Jay Chris.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen that guy in
You
a
must
minute,
be.
but
The guy that I kind of wonder if presents are coming meant. Oh, dang! I almost broke a rule. Let me be quiet. Yeah, you see how the second one is also me? Did you see the second one pop up? The second one is also me, Prop.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I see it. I'll get it.
so Chris Zero, can I ask you a question? I recently feel like I just recently shifted, and I have had this thing recent happen in the past where there will be flip flops, and people in the community themselves will not. The whole community itself will not recall an event happening that they just talked about the previous day.
McDonald versus McDonald. Continue.
Okay, so do you remember the dire wolves? Do you remember that being the thing that the Mandela community talked about, like around 2012? We were like, oh yeah, this is weird. That's not supposed to be an animal that exists. Like that animal was coming into existence, and then the next day it was disappearing from the records, and then again the next day it was popping back up, and people were like, look, this is a weird Mandela effect. It keeps on flip flopping. These animals are not supposed to be alive. The dire wolves, at the same time, that happened around the same time with the troglodytes.
Your dire wolves line up exactly with the most recent shift that happened between 7 to 3 days ago.
Well, are you saying because of the
Because
announcement?
apparently now they no longer exist, is your answer.
Well, this is the thing. In around 2012, it was flip flopping. At first, they came about, then they disappeared. They came about, they stayed disappeared. Like they came around for a little while, and the Mandela community was making comments and discussing like, "Hey, this is weird," and then it just went away. That was one of the things that just ended up disappearing, and it was just in our memories the thing we remembered. But supposedly now, when the scientists did this whole new direwolf experiment, where they were like, "Hey, we just genetically engineered direwolves," I was expecting the Mandela community to say like, "Hey, this is weird. We literally discussed this. That was one of the mandanimals that popped up." And now supposedly scientists are recreating it. But no, when I went to the Mandela community to ask them, hey, do y'all remember when this was one of the mandanimals that were just popping up? Nobody remembered it. As far as everyone I've talked to so far, nobody recalls the Mandela community being aware of the dire wolf coming into existence and then disappearing again in 2016. Do you remember that being a thing? That conversation?
Mm.
Chris
Uh,
Zero?
I have to give you that one. Yes. I have to give you that one. In one of the sets that are close enough to prime perception, there was a discussion of list of animals, and that was on
Excuse
the
me,
list of
where's
animals
the other
whether they
lady?
were or weren't still here.
Jacob, where's the other lady? She has to go.
She
Because
popped
there was
off.
many in the community that literally said that they have paperwork stating that they have a dire wolf in their possession, and they were proving that they had dire wolves.
Yeah, there was pictures, there was videos,
Stinky.
and now supposedly none, as far as I'm aware of, when I was speaking to the people in the Mandela communities that I normally engage with, nobody was aware of it. Nobody remembers it, and it's only me, my brother, and a few,
Sandy.
and it seems like you,
It's me
a
right
few
there.
others that remember it.
Look
Sorry,
like this.
Noodles. What were you saying?
What are you doing on my link? Propagate.
I'm adding everybody's link to the description box
Thank you.
so that no
And
problem.
Sandy's.
Yeah, so I think
She's
this
not.
most recent shift.
And
I just want,
Sandy's.
I just
All
want to
right.
say,
All right. Go ahead.
I think this most recent shift that happened has done something because it seems like even just because you can see the changes doesn't mean that you're not going to be unaffected by these changes that are affecting everyone. And
Correct.
we are,
It goes
yeah,
back to the medical ones where your body has changed, and a lot of people in the Mandela community are like, "Wait, I can't give you a lot of those," and I'm like, "Dude, there is literally physical, medical changes to us. There's things in the back of our eye sockets now. Our heart is more centered than where it was, slightly over to one side. We now have these things called floating ribs. Um, our there was another one. I think it was even in males and females, our hips are no longer the same angle that they were, or there was. It's probably like the eye sockets. It just looks different, is what I'm trying to put down. And there's a lot of organs that are different as well throughout the times. And the thing is that I'm putting down is we can only perceive a singular perception at a time, even though that we can gather in groups and have the Heisenberg principle, the uncertainty principle go awry as it has and will always do. But we are all stuck on this now for some strange reason. Because before we was legitimately split into our personal realities, and then somehow everything collided whenever we was able to test things more. It's like um, double slit experiment. Originally, we always thought it was a wave until we got a computer that was able to detect it, and then and
The
only
observer
then
effect.
were the detection.
Yeah, the observer effect.
The detection.
It's the more people that wake up, the more people that are awakening, the energy changes and it becomes stronger in that direction, the direction
And
of
it
truth.
flattens out.
Well, the whole point is that we're moving out of a negative energy into a positive energy the more people wake up.
Which means more of a singular timeline, i.e., prime
Not
perception, as I've noted.
necessarily, not necessarily. I mean, if there's going to be a split, I want to differentiate the split from the shift. If there is a split, there's some people aren't following us.
And that's where discernment comes in. Yes, ma'am. We have to ensure that we have, I don't know how in everyone's personal understanding it is, some kind of protection whenever
It's
we go
what
through
you
the shifts
vibrate at.
so that we don't split.
It's what
Thank
you
you.
vibrate at. Whatever your frequency vibrates at, that's where you're going to be. You don't have a choice in the matter. The only choice any of us have is gaining knowledge and trying to learn to discern truth from lies. Because it's an energy. The more knowledge you have, knowledge is power and not in the way you think. The more knowledge you have, the more you vibrate in the right frequency. So if there's going to be a split where people are divided, then I would imagine you would naturally go wherever your energy vibrates because you wouldn't be able to survive on the other one. You see what I mean? And by the same token, anybody who hasn't gained the knowledge to raise their vibration and raise their frequency could survive on the new earth. So I don't think it's something you have a choice in. I think it's something that as you gain knowledge and as you gain understanding and discernment, It's where your frequency vibrates, where it takes you.
So you're still stating we're all on separate timelines? Question mark.
No, has nothing to do with timelines. It has everything to do with frequency.
Okay, I got a question. Do you think, because for me, I strongly do believe that I have just recently went into another timeline, like recently. Do
I
you
think we
believe,
flux.
huh?
I think we flux in between them.
Can we talk about Minecraft?
No, sweetie, we're not talking about Minecraft right now.
So do you think
I
that
want to. I
right
want to
now?
get in on this. I want to
Okay,
get in on this
okay, go ahead.
timeline
Mind
talk
has a
too.
question.
I see Mr. Waters chomping.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this last thing, and then you could jump in, propagate. So do you think right now, like, because I personally feel that whatever timeline I'm in, the people are kind of like, I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm just thinking bad, and that's not good because, like you said, whatever you're vibrating at, it's gonna cause you to go there. But I've noticed, from what I'm noticing, it seems like the people are becoming more like negative or oppositional to me around me, the people around me.
That's going to happen. The more your frequency is out of resonance with theirs. So you have to find a way to coexist with them. I live with a family who are totally opposite from me. You know, we don't talk politics, we don't talk spirituality because that just gets them all worked up. But you find the people that you resonate with to discuss those things, which gives you an outlet so you don't feel frustrated. But the more your frequency changes, the less you resonate with the people you did before. Old friends drop away because they no longer fit. And it's not anything bad that happens, it just happens. They just drift. You drift, you know, and you find yourself through the years with different groups of people learning different things. So you're resonating with those people. It's a learning process. But the whole point is the more knowledge you gain, the higher your frequency, the better your health when you get that.
Propagate. Did you want to say something? I didn't. I did want to hear what you had to say.
I think Jacob did.
Oh, Jacob. Okay.
I was gonna say when it comes to timelines, I really only think there's one that we're on. I think of it like if everything's because I get this kind of mixed up with parallel dimensions and other things. I think everything's occurring simultaneously on top of each other, and kind of like what Mud Rabbit was talking, where you get like overlaps and stuff. I think you get bleed through. I think it's all the same stream going in one direction. Every once in a while, there'll be a boulder or a rock upstream that will reroute the stream a little bit. But some objects are unmovable, and some can be altered a little bit, but not a lot. Otherwise, you get this rubber band effect that snaps the line back, and that's when you get bleed through and crossover. Is when people I think are trying to alter the course of events that's supposed to happen. But when it comes to negative entities, I think that's always going to be a thing. There's always going to be people that are trying to drag down your energy, whether you call them social vampires, whether you call them whatever. It's just the yin and yang to the world.
I
It's not
remember
even
that one.
because I don't even believe in positive and negative energy anymore. It's more of like I don't believe in good and bad. It's just the opposite to somebody else's energy, I
You
guess.
attract
Or
what you are.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can, but I also think
whatever
but
frequency it is you're working in, that you attract those things that resonate in that frequency.
but I also think the lower entities feed off of that higher energy too.
Oh
And
yeah.
they would love to like linger around and hang out. And it's like you got to be able to, like, I don't know, get the Klingons off. It's the
Yeah,
best way
and
to.
there's always gonna be Klingons, but the whole point is to be aware of them, and they do make themselves known. You just don't recognize it as such. You think these negative thoughts that pop into your head out of freaking nowhere, you think they're your thoughts. They're not your thoughts, and you have to address them as such. You have to let them know you recognize them for what they are and to be gone, because these things are all around us, and people who stay at a high frequency are like a beacon of light. That's a good lunch. That's nutritious. They don't want people who are negative. They don't want people whose energy is down around their toes, to put it in Castaneda's words. They want people who shine bright. And they're the ones they're going to try to glom onto. So you can be having a perfectly good day, and then all of a sudden you get one little negative thought and you're pissed at somebody that you weren't upset at before. And then your whole day goes downhill from there. And they're feeding off of it, sucking all that light from you.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I think it's easy to understand that there's not good and bad or good and evil. Like I think there's people can do evil things just as easy as they can do uh, good things. In that sense, like it is more of a positive and negative because I mean, I like to think about it in like a nationalism term. Like your country will go tell you to go fight for them, and they'll call it a good cause for you to get behind whatever military cause to go over and disrupt somebody else's life. It doesn't mean it's good because your nation tells you it's good.
Well, this
But
is where discernment is very important, because a lot
yeah,
of the things that we're
yeah,
brainwashed to think are good for us, good for the country, do it for your grandma, all that BS. It's not. It's brainwashing. And this is where discernment comes in, and you have to recognize it for what it is, and you have to find your own way to counter it.
There's a phantom in here. Where's Pamela at? Pamela, where you at?
Here it is, the Minecraft.
Phantom of the chakras. What happened to Moonbeam?
And Pamela, I think we're talking about the ME. I think that's not certain people's topics. That's probably why certain people just left the panel. I don't know about Moonbeam though. Phantom, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
All right. So you've been going live lately there. Yeah. Like you
Yeah, I
like
went live earlier. I went live earlier today, early morning.
oh, okay, I missed that one. Yeah. Yeah.
How
Been
you
going
doing
Yeah,
there.
tonight?
yeah, I went live. Hey, Bud Rabbit, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, good, good. I had to hop in. I saw you guys talking about the new timelines. This is real good. This is good stuff. Um, so yeah, I had to just jump on. Now, when who was saying that? The other guy on here, what was his name again? He said, he feels he went into a different timeline.
That was the mind.
The mind, okay. Um, yeah, I just wanted if he can give just an explanation or like on what that is. They're
Like what
there,
he
the mind.
experienced.
Yeah, yeah, just
I just got on
anything
the
he can
bus right
share.
now, but I will definitely share my experience that I just recently had with y'all within like 20 minutes because I'm actually headed to work and I do want to have this conversation, but I'm on the bus.
Oh, okay, okay. No, it's all good, bro. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, I've been feeling some changes myself, Mud Rabbit. I've been having, yeah, like you just really see how like the universe will obey you if you start doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And
Um,
you also have karmic debt that you have to. My mom called it karmic ribbons that you burn throughout a lifetime. And once they're burned and your focus is correct, you end up where you're supposed to be. My year of turmoil was 2024, and I've come out the other side in really good shape. But I see other people going through it now. Not everybody goes through it at the same time.
I'm surprised yours was last year. I would have never figured it was that recent.
Yeah.
Just from knowing you.
Well, it's when your life is about to change, we see it in the physical and we experience it in the physical as upheaval. And then all of a sudden, your peaceful life that you thought wasn't ever going to change, that this is where you're at and you're comfortable in it, all of a sudden, like overnight, it just changes. And
I got
then
a
all of a
question for you,
sudden,
Mud
you know
Rabbit.
you don't belong there. So this is the universe's way of moving you out of the place you're at and putting it where you have to be.
Yeah, 100%, Mud. And it's just, oh, sorry, were you going to see some prop? I didn't mean to cut you out.
Oh, that was me. I was going to ask Mud
Oh,
Rabbit, because I feel like I've gotten to that awakening point. But how do you get to that comfortable point where you don't want to bang your head against the wall because of all the people around you that have not caught up? Like, how do you get to that calm spot?
Yeah,
Because
that's
I'm spending all
frustrating.
my time trying to bring other people with me because I'm too worried about people getting left behind.
I know. I'm going through that too on the surface, but I don't know how you would handle it. I handle it this way. Jesus never told anybody what to do or how to do it. He showed them. He lived it. So I am living it. I am doing exactly what it is I know I need to do. And damn the torpedoes. You know, people around me can think whatever they want. I mean, for God's sake, twice a day I'm standing in my yard calling to a squirrel, and none of my neighbors know what I'm doing out there. I'm just standing there calling a weird name. I don't care. You know, there are some people, they get to a point, oh my God, what if the neighbors see me doing this? They feel they have to explain themselves. No, you just get to a point where you're comfortable in your skin and you know it because you just had a whole bunch of upheaval and all of a sudden things are calm. It's like going through a storm.
Mud, you were saying that you talk to your animals the other day. Like, are
All the
you,
time.
yeah, are you, for some reason, though, I guess I had assumed you meant more in a telepathical way. But then I guess I realized you're saying
No,
that
I
you
think it
literally.
works that way. I think I try to do both, especially with this squirrel, and it works. You just, when you're talking to them, just visualize a picture in your head of what you're saying. I do that with my hen, and oh my God, I swear I think she understands me. I call her in at night. You know, sometimes she'll stay out a little late, and I'll, stick my head out the back door and say, Wilhelmina, you're late. And here she comes.
Oh my God, they've started to understand you.
They do.
Why?
Well,
And it's not just these animals, it's all the animals I've had in the past, even the ones that aren't too bright. They understand you.
Well, and even on a surface level, I mean, plants know if you're giving out positive vibrations or negative ones. And I assume animals pick off the same thing, whether it's tones or I don't know energy. Because what do they say that like dogs and bees can smell fear or something like that?
Yeah, they feel you. They know what energy you're putting off because they don't speak the language. They can understand rudimentary words, and they learn, but I think they go on your body language and the energy they're picking up from you.
Makes sense.
I get
Right.
a lot of wild, and you know this, Jacob. I get wild animals all the time, and they're not afraid of me.
Yeah, you're running a farm over there.
Yeah, well, before the farm, I had the possums, I had the hermit crabs, I had the birds. It's for some odd reason, I think there's just this energy that I have to want to take care of these animals. They end up in my care one way or the other, more so than for most people.
You definitely have to have good energy. That's like for starters.
Yeah,
Um,
otherwise the animals won't like it.
they won't like it. Yeah. Um, yeah, I've been. I think. I guess since I've been taught. I don't know if it's subconsciously, but I've thought about it. I said it'd be nice for me to get like a dog or something, or just some sort of animal, because I get along real well with them. Um, I don't have any animals. It's just I don't have the time to take care of them.
Oh, I wish
You
I
know
was younger. I'd get a Malinois and train it really good.
what is a Malinois?
That's those dogs that you see in the army training videos that learned. They're high energy dogs, and I'm no longer high energy. I'd have to have had that dog in my 20s, but they
Okay, I
are
got one.
gorgeous dogs.
I got one, and I think this one's pretty new because it's the one I wanted to bring up as the bombshell whenever I was live. Okay, Does anybody remember sunflowers following the sun? And that's why they're called sunflowers, question mark.
Yeah, but I've had some in my yard that don't necessarily
They
follow
don't
the
follow
sun.
the sun anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay, that was the bombshell Mandela event that I wanted to put down real quick. The new ones, out of the new ones, Mr. Waters mentioned the bald eagle, but these were all little bitty pieces of what may. Like the new one is the Black Ranger from the OG Power Rangers was missing his middle left finger, and I knew that from way back in the 90s. So that one remains true in my book.
Wait, what did Jacob say about the bald eagle? I thought I missed that one. Or did I hear it?
Okay, so do you want me to say it or do you want to say it, Mr. Waters?
Oh no, you take the floor, but I'm probably going to have to premise it after you say it because you didn't give it to me with enough context.
And you have all the official detailed data, but until December of 2024, the national bird was not recognized. National bird was not recognized as the American eagle. But there's been a law since what year, Mr. Waters? 1780. What?
It
What was
wasn't
that
a,
year?
it wasn't a law. The
Yes,
first time
correct.
we implemented the eagle on our what is it, government seal was in 1782. And we recognized the bald eagle because it's common to North America and it's not common in other countries. So back in Europe or England, they weren't going to use that same bird. That's why they picked it up in the United States.
Correct. That's how come during our discussion about it, I said I can give you all of those details, but this part is true. It was not recognized as, and I can even give you your extra details that we're not allowed to discuss about E. So, Prop, what do you think about the sunflowers not facing the sun anymore? Question mark. Since you're back on the panel.
I never knew they followed the sun. I never knew what it meant. So I'm learning stuff through y'all.
Okay. Because that was the meaning derived from how they came up with the English term sunflowers, you call it. But yeah, back to regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, I noticed that phenomenon not too long ago because the sun, I always watch the sun because I'm a gardener. And I had grown sunflowers in this yard when I first came here for the birds, and I've got them still. They are not facing the sun. Now the sun is on the move right now. It's just moved from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. So I'm watching them now to see, and they've turned more to the left. If I'm standing behind them, the sun will be coming up in the east, and they're facing east northeast.
The kind of the same but in opposite direction, so to speak. Okay.
No, not opposite directions, but not directly at. And they're supposed to face the sun. They're not facing the sun. They're going more northeast.
Yeah, instead of southeast is what I mean. The opposite exact same.
No, the sun is coming up in the east now.
Yeah, and
here where I live, and they're
facing
not
northeast instead of
right.
directly east. But do they move during the day? Question mark.
No.
Thank you very much, Miss Mud Rabbit.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now because I'm waiting for the new moon. I've got some seeds to plant. I've got a garden that's turned.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a pink full moon tonight.
It was either tonight or last night. I'm waiting for the new moon.
It was tonight.
I'm waiting for the new moon.
So I asked a question earlier. What do y'all have to say about those questions regarding some people saying that none of this actually exists? It's coming from inside of us. You know, the earth, everything.
Well, we collectively build our own reality. It's a collective reality. We agree on certain things.
So where
it only renders it only renders what you're looking at is probably my best answer because there's no reason to load all that information at once. because I'm
If
more of a
in fact we're in a
simulationist.
simulation, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would
I
take
think
too
Mr.
much
Waters
data.
on the fence of object permanence.
Oh, so the whole looking at it thing, well, how can it exist? So you're saying that it exists because you're looking at it, but if you're looking at it, it already exists, correct?
Have you heard of the
So,
observer effect?
so I would
Yeah.
describe it like have you ever played like Grand Theft Auto, a video game?
No.
Okay, well, any video game where it's like a roaming world, um, and say there's a village that you have to go to, they aren't spending any time with the details of the village until you're close to the village. Once you get close enough to it, they'll start rendering some of the buildings because you can see them from a distance. But at that point, they're not referencing. I mean, they're not representing what's inside of the buildings in that village until you walk in one of the buildings. So it would take too much data to have all of that there. Your memory might store it as I remember this being there last time, but it doesn't have
All
any
right,
reason to
I'll
render it
break
until
it
you're
for you,
staring
Mr.
at it.
Waters. I'll break it for you, Mr. Waters. Keep him up there on the screen for a minute. Put him back up on the screen, Mr. Prop. Okay, so everybody look at the picture of Mr. Waters and notice now that he has hair on his chest. Now make him smaller. I'm trying
Make
to
them
layman's
smaller,
terms. Yes, make him smaller now. Good
like
job,
that.
Prop. You made him even smaller. So yeah, I'm trying to layman's terms exactly what Mr. Waters said. Now it's even more difficult to notice what I just told you, that there's hair on his AI generated picture's chest.
That's
Oh,
very simplistic, but yeah, I think
That's
there's
why I
no
said
reason.
layman's terms. I tried to
I
bridge the
think,
gap for you.
and I also think this works when we're talking about things on a quantum level, because like if you talk about like the slit experiment and stuff like that, and how things are supposed to be represented, and they change when you look at them. So it would make sense that the rest of the rules that govern where we exist would follow.
Yes, and we have just recently been able to physically observe singular atoms on a microscopic level. We still haven't got to Planck scale yet, but I'd like to also re-emphasize and quadruple down, if I must quintuple down, on it is a detector and not an observer that causes the double slit experiment to go from the multiple lines to 2 lines.
So under
What
that
is the significance of
premise,
that? Of the difference
under
between the
under
two?
that premise, I can just take my glasses off and my house is instantly clean.
Yes, ma'am. And then you put your glasses back on because of object permanence. Your house remains dirty
Well,
because
I'm
the
taking
moon
my
is in the
glasses
sky.
off because the floor
The
needs
moon is in the
mopping.
sky. The moon is in the sky. Object permanence. This laptop exists. Everybody's on a technological device. Object permanence, and
What's
that's.
the
Go ahead, Mr. Waters.
I was gonna say, what's the common phrase? Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, that's it.
Good cluster.
I'm going out to look at the moon.
I've tried to see it. Go ahead, Prop.
Oh, I was just wondering where Miss Moonbeam and Pamela went. I thought Moonbeam was coming back. Hmm.
I sent a message. I didn't get a return, but I don't know. Maybe I'll find out something later. I definitely hope maybe. Um, Hopefully this doesn't break the rules. Um, there's a question that we don't know what it is, but we do know that the answer is yes or no. It's an either yes or no answer. And if it's yes, it's energy. If the answer is no, it's frequency. Or I can break it down this way. If the answer is yes, it's logic. If the answer is no, then it's what we believe. And that's what it comes down to. We don't know whether it is yes or no. And my personal way of dealing with this is I split all my eggs in both of the baskets, if that makes any sense.
You lost me, to be fair.
To be fair,
Isn't
science and
that like
religion,
being a
I
fence sitter
figured out
though?
how to meld them in a way that your belief is within my understanding. Because if the answer is yes, science prevails. If the answer is no, what we follow and have an understanding and intuition, all the frequency, the way the vibrations work and everything, that's true. But if not, it's all these energies and these equations and all the logic and this and that. It goes to whether or not we are or aren't in a simulation. But like I said, we don't know what the question is. But what we do know is that the question has a yes or a no answer. And what I am doing personally with my perception, not observation, my perception is that I'm understanding both sides at the same time and betting on both sides so that either way, I'm on top whenever it comes to the
If
end of tangibility.
do you think I don't know. I've come to this conclusion that science, the farthest point that science reaches, is usually where um, religion and spirituality meet.
The god of
Because
the gaps.
yeah, they you can only put religion and spirituality as far as science has reached, and then they use spirituality and religion to explain anything further than science hasn't reached yet. And we've done that all throughout humanity, all the way up until I think the newest one would be the Big Bang. We don't know what happened prior to the Big Bang or what made it occur. And then some people will tell you it's spiritual or religious that solves that problem.
If Prop doesn't mind, may I read the three laws of Clark?
Sure.
Um, Law one: when a distinguished but elder scientist states that something is possible, he is almost certainly right. When he states that something is impossible, he is probably wrong. Law two: the only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. Law three: any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Thank you very much, Prop.
Yes, as soon as you're certain about something, you're probably uncertain in the long run.
Your frequency is not going to shift any higher if you hold wrong beliefs or if you hold sacred cows. You have to be willing to slay those sacred cows in order to bring your frequency up. You can't sit on fences with something like that
That is the
because
difference between
improper knowledge is of the wrong energy bent.
that's the difference between practice makes perfect and perfect practice makes perfect.
No, it's the difference. It's called making a choice. You said that you hold firmly on both areas until you find something, and then you still hold on to that other knowledge.
Because
It's
both are
not
not
going to bring your
completely generic is
frequency
what I'm
up.
trying to put down.
What I'm trying to say is holding on to wrong or incorrect knowledge is like harboring a lie. You can't
Correct.
bring your frequency up if you're holding on to knowledge that doesn't serve you.
And there's nothing
Agreed.
behind my beliefs or feelings, but there
Agreed.
is promises behind my principles.
Well, it's all about frequency.
I gotta agree with
Regardless of
Mud.
what your principles are or what you believe, it's all about frequency. Frequency doesn't care about feelings.
I gotta
I
agree with
go.
Mud 110%, man. Because like we're not here to act like we're all saints and blah blah blah. But it's like when I used to, you know, do the pretend thing or ignore certain things. That's why my life stayed the way it was for a long time. But it wasn't until it was like, all right, I'm gonna be 100% honest, 100% honest.
You had to
Everything
slay
just
a few
changed.
things, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
Old
yeah,
beliefs. Yeah.
100%. And so it was funny because when uh Prop is talking about the tax thing, so I don't want to get into mine, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to get into it, but when I went the other day, uh, I I already knew ahead of time. I said, all right, I'm assuming I'm going to owe back some back taxes for another gig I do, and I don't want to get into it, but it's yeah, it's going to be a lot. And so I looked at it two ways. I said, and this is how I knew I grew, and I'm like, I couldn't be more grateful. But a couple years ago, I wouldn't have dealt with it that way. I would have threw a fit. I would have been like, "There's no way I owe back taxes." Blah blah blah. This is
Yeah, it's how you
impossible.
approach it too.
Yeah, but this time, the reason I got happy is I said, "Oh, I know what the opportunity in this is. If I want to get my legit business going, and again, I'll tell some of you behind the scenes, not really on the air, but if I want to get it going, this is how it's done in Canada, is that you have to pay these legit taxes, blah blah." So I actually got happy that I owed back some taxes. I said, okay, now I know this is how it's going to be when I get my business up and going. So I completely approached it in a good way, and so yeah, that yeah, I'm just saying I agree with Mud Rabbit because it's
Y-
like if you're honest, it's endless. It's just
Yeah, and
endless.
you don't,
Yeah.
especially in business, you don't want to put a bad mark on yourself because all of that in this day and age, all of that pops up on a computer. And in the
Right.
future, if you need a bank loan or something and that something like that comes up, you won't get the loan.
Phantom,
So it's
Right.
yeah.
For sure. For
I,
sure.
I agree with you quite a bit. It was the biggest load off my back when I took my company above ground, I guess. When I got fully insured, got an accountant. It was just a breath of fresh air to know that I didn't have to like worry about those things anymore. For the
Takes all
longest
the
time, I
headache
was like,
off.
"Oh yeah, write my check to my private name," and you know what I mean. And it
Yeah,
was
all
just
the
like it
headache.
got so stressful, and then I was just like, "Oh no, you can do this normally." And I've been doing it normally for about 5 or 6 years now. And after that, it's just I don't know. I don't think about tax season the most anymore. Like I was trying to tell somebody this: if you're gonna do a small business, hire an accountant, hire people that are good at doing their job, and don't try to learn how to do all the tax code and stuff yourself, because an accountant can honestly pay for their own wage uh, by just doing their
Yeah,
job.
they
If
save you a lot of money.
Yeah, you don't realize how much they can actually
Yeah.
do for you because you've never had one before and you don't know all the secrets that they already know.
Yeah,
And they
I've
don't
done
want to teach you the
bookkeeping.
tricks.
I've done bookkeeping for our business. We had rentals and I had to keep track of the tenants. I had to keep track of expenses, all that stuff. But back then we had QuickBooks and I already had a bookkeeping certificate. So I kept track of it in QuickBooks. And that was a nice little program because at the end of the year, you just hit print on all of your expenses and all of your assets and all of that stuff and hand it to your accountant. But what's important is that by having a program like that, even if you don't do all the work, if you're just logging it for yourself, you learn a lot.
But to bring it back to what we were talking about with I don't know, I call it having your feet in the sand.
Yeah.
Because when I had the most growth is when I started, and Curse might be able to attest for this, or Mud Rabbit, is when I came online and started sparring with people on just ideas. Like I play devil's advocate with most people, and most people don't really know what I believe in or how I feel about things. I just would rather see and challenge their beliefs to see if they actually believe what they think they do, and then see, because I learned so much by doing that rather than
Good
staying
job,
staying to my
bro.
own guns.
Well, it's
I
called
saw you reading from the
networking.
script, and then I seen you throw away the paper. It's like, yeah, good job, Mr. Waters.
Yeah, it's called networking. And you learn a lot when you network with other people.
Future President Andre Little, what up?
Is he here?
Andre Little, 2044.
Where is he? Oh, is he in your room?
He's in the
So,
he's in the
that's
all of them.
nearly my time here. If anybody else requires me before I decide to actually be up on time being here, let me know.
Do you want to explain the rules prop for Simon? If I don't know if the panel's closed, but
Hey,
I don't
let me
know if he
ask
knows
you
the
this,
rules.
Jacobs. Let me ask you this, Waters. You had just mentioned, and by the way, oh geez, I was sort of doing this thing on my laptop. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, and so Jacobs, you had mentioned the Big Bang Theory, and so I'm just wondering, if you're going with that, like how old do you believe the Earth really is, and actually this is for everybody. Does anybody here at all go by the 6,000 year theory, or do we gravitate more
I'll
towards?
just spit out. I call it the grand expansion, and then let everybody else have a turn.
I think the planet's much older than 6,000 years, but I think everything's a cycle. When I look back to the Big Bang, I think of it as I don't know, opposing to a black hole. It's a white fountain. That's all I think of the Big Bang, and it's a constant circle. After all the black holes suck up all the matter in this universe, they spit them out somewhere else.
Mm, mm.
I think the planet is much older and much larger than we're told.
Would you believe by any chance, Mud, in the firmament, as it says there in Genesis?
Yeah, but I don't believe it's a shield that's impenetrable.
Mm.
I
Let
mean,
me
you have certain atmospheres as you go up, and each one is like a shell over the earth. And then you reach a point where there's no oxygen, nothing.
The
So
carbon
that's where the
lines.
firmament ends. But I think this planet is much bigger than what we're told. This is my personal opinion. It's why a lot of people think it's flat, is because we're this one little disc on a much larger globe, um, or whatever shape it is without the water. And I think there's been civilizations here before us. I think our history is a lie.
Do you
um
think?
to
Yeah,
to
go
add to
go ahead,
that,
Jacob.
Phantom. Um, to give you an idea of how old I think the Earth is, I believe that there was a planetary war at some point in our solar system. I believe that what we call the asteroid belt now used to be a larger planet than our own, but that gives you an idea of how old I think.
Yeah, they called it
Um,
Tiamat.
yeah, and I kind of go with the Sumerian, the dialect on that, with it being Tiamat, and it was destroyed. And I also believe it's possible that there was life on Mars at one point. So I would say that in general, our whole solar system is probably a lot older, and life being in it is a lot older than we think.
Um, I could throw years to my answer of the grand expansion from the point everybody is pointing towards at the same time. Um, Personally, we have that. What is it? 30 billion? No, it has to be 30 trillion. That's no, it is 30 trillion. It is 30 trillion light years across. So therefore, it'll be diameter about 60. But I personally add 1 quintillion to that from the time that we started from a Planck size item to what we are now.
I think this is more like Australia was on a smaller scale. I think there was this portion of this giant planet that was an ice wall was put around it, and there was people sent here that maybe didn't fit into the populations out there, and we've grown from that. And I think we've had many cataclysms. We've got proof of it, um, and we're the survivors.
To that, I actually have the mantle isn't as thick as we state it is, so therefore there's more crust room. So that does allow us for at least in my perception, an additional 2 layers, and then we actually reach the mantle because nobody's broke through what we know as the crust. So that's my understanding. Because we've also proven that there are tunnels that connect all the continents. Period.
Speaking of tunnels, did anybody do any research on that? The caverns that have finally been confirmed under the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx? Because there was something breaking about that in the news recently, and I
Yeah,
know
that was last
everybody's
week.
speculated on it for years, but going all the way back to like Edgar Casey and before. But
Yeah, Edgar Casey said something that there was something under the pyramids. To me, it looks like a water system and an energy system. I think this is how they dispersed water and free energy because they were coated with limestone, these pyramids. They shone
Are,
at night.
are we talking about these columns that we found underneath the pyramids that
Yeah,
I've
they've
known
got like
about
this
in
spiral
existence
thing
since the
going around it.
90s? I've known that they've existed since the
Mhm.
90s, so that's my exclamation mark on that. They're not
Well,
brand new. This
there's
new generation found out about them and said that they were new, is my answer to that one.
there's more water underground than there is above ground,
I
and
agree.
water is necessary to generate energy in some cases. So whatever it was, I personally think it was a giant energy generator
How do you
and water
think the
supplier.
Egyptians powered their city at nights? Because they were
Yeah,
hydroponic at night and solar powered during the day.
yeah, I think that's what was going on.
And that'll be my cue. Thank you for having me, Prop. Trips,
No
everybody.
problem. Have a good one. Thanks
See
for
you,
coming.
Zero.
Hey,
And now
0 0
they're you look at some of these old photographs of these buildings that they destroyed to hide from us, that they found out west. We don't build buildings like that. We don't even have the equipment to build buildings like that.
I'm just wondering what the underground was used for that they said that they found under there.
Wasn't it something about water that they were? It was like a water system.
Yeah, there's a lot of underground rivers. I've got an artesian well on my property here.
Oh, that's got to be awesome.
There's an abundance of water underground, fresh water. It smells like sulfur or smells like iron, but it's clean.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman on my show who is an expert in the Great Pyramids, and what he talked about was also utilizing water because they were wondering how the Great Pyramids were built, and he was saying that they were the blocks were floated into place. They actually flooded the area in order to move such large blocks. And I don't know. The more I think about it, everybody seems to make the pyramids out to be a pump or something like that, and I think it's possible. I think it's very possible.
Hmm. I wanted to take it back just real fast. I don't think I got my question answered though, or maybe I wasn't satisfied, or maybe I just don't understand. Because you were talking about when you look at something that's there. I'm trying to understand that. Um, a person was telling me that everything is coming from inside of us, and then Mud Rabbit. I mentioned that Mud Rabbit said that we're all individually creating a reality, and it's like a collective. It becomes a collective reality. So
Yeah,
Mud Rabbit, are you saying that all of
I
us?
need to be up there to miss my mom.
Okay,
we
we're not doing this.
have
Hold on a second.
individual.
Let me hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right. Okay. Let me just finish my statement so I can get the proper response. So, are you saying that we're all creating what we all agree on? Is that what you're saying?
When you're by yourself, that's your own reality. But when you're with a group of people or one or more people, That's a collective reality. You're creating reality together. You're agreeing that the reality you see is what both of you see, if that makes any sense. So the people that you surround yourself with collectively agree that that's the reality. This is the porch we're sitting on. This is the kitchen we're walking through, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have the bigger collective, the town you live in, the things you vote on, the state you live in, the country you live in, the world you live in. It gets bigger, bigger, bigger. So we do live a collective reality. When you're in the grocery store with a bunch of other people, that's a collective reality. You're all agreeing that that grocery store is as it is.
Okay.
Well, and
Now, if something
I think
happens, if oh, I just want to say this real fast. If something happens in that grocery store, if someone walks in and starts drama, is that something that everybody asks for?
Yeah, in a way, you're there to witness it. There's no coincidences. If you go on the premise that there are no coincidences, then there's a lesson there to be learned. There's something you signed up for. Not
Sorry
that
about
you
that, Miss.
chose that, but perhaps you chose to learn a specific lesson, and that's the way the universe decides to teach you. It's the
Sorry
same
about that,
thing
Miss.
with NPCs. When you start questioning a thing, the universe is going to let you ruminate on it and let you work on it and let you work and figure it out. And when you think you've almost got it figured out, something's going to happen. And you're going to go, whoa. And then you're going to understand. Happens to all of us all the time.
And sometimes you could, I guess you can get distractions coming in the way.
Well, there's
Um,
those pesky little things distracting you.
yeah,
It can
like,
come in the form of elementals. It can come in the form of something bigger. It could be something as simple as your cat.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I had to remind myself recently to focus on the tasks at hand because I mean, I've been known to get distracted. There's no denying that. And so I had to remind myself. I had to remind myself. Um, and then you just jump back on track because even when I can, just get in line with what the universe has in planned, it's like I can go back to horsing around and just, doing knucklehead stuff where I can focus and I choose to focus. Um,
Yeah, but whatever your choice is, if you choose to do knucklehead things, then you're going to end up with a knucklehead reality, and you know this.
exactly,
And some
exactly.
people, even though they know this, they still blame others for it.
but I
I'm
think
Yeah.
it
sorry, we
works.
didn't come here to have an easy life. There's some people that are cheating and they're billionaires and they're got it easy, but these are not the people who are glowing with the light. Trust me on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, go
that's
ahead, Miss.
agreed. That's agreed.
I was going to say, I think it works with almost anything. Like your truth compared to the truth, your truth is established by what you've learned in your immediate, whether it's the people you surround yourself with or the experiences you had. But it doesn't make it the truth. Just like you could surround yourself in an echo chamber of people that agree with you, but it doesn't make it the truth. So I think it's a hard balance for people to find. And like you were saying with the knucklehead equivalence phantom, like say you just want to get into uncovering, the worst things about the world, and you're trying to help people. Maybe you flood yourself with negativity because maybe one person is not supposed to know about all the negative things in the world. Maybe you're doing a positive thing, but it's draining you. Like it's possible to know the truth and it hurt you more too. And that's why some people choose not to wake up into certain things, or they take it in certain doses, because um I always use the equivalent of somebody like AJ. I won't say his name because I don't know what's allowed on YouTube, but AJ dropped himself in conspiracies his whole internet career, And I think he got to a point where he thought everything was a conspiracy, and then everybody feeding into it. And eventually it got to a point where he couldn't decipher what was real and what wasn't, and what was corruption and what wasn't. You get yourself so deep into it where it's hard to decipher.
Yeah, this is where
Oh
discernment is
yeah.
important. But I also think that certain people are able to handle the really bad stuff, the really bad news. I mean, I do it myself because we've had certain experiences through our life, the school of hard knocks, so to speak. It hardens you. It really does harden you. You have enough of these things happen in your life, and all of a sudden you're able to handle those things. And there's a lot of people out there that can do that. But there are some people out there, somebody skins their knee and bleeds, they can't handle looking at the blood. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh,
and there's
for
So I
people that
sure.
I've
think your
met.
life experience really teaches you to be able to handle certain things. And I don't think that's an accident. I really don't think that's an accident.
Well, and I know
Oh,
there's
to
like people out there that are just positive vibes and I don't want to talk about negative things. And I think they're doing a benefit to people, but I also think they are blind to some of the negative things that are going on because they don't want to
Mhm.
take that in and lower their own energy
They
in
don't want
order
to
to.
believe it. Yeah, they're not
Well, it's
prepared
not even
for it.
that they don't even want to believe it, or they don't want to feed into it because maybe they would help people less if their energy was lowered because of all the
Right,
negativity they
right,
knew about. Like
exactly.
it's
Well, those
it's not
people,
always it's
that's the
not
level
always
they're on.
the naiveness of it. It's
Mhm.
sometimes it's you know about it and you just don't want to take it in, I guess.
Yeah, that's the level they're on.
Yeah, I have
I
some. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go on.
Yeah, go ahead. No, no,
You
go
got
ahead.
it,
You've
bro.
been waiting. No, no, you got
No,
it.
no,
You got
no, no, no. I've been
it.
you. It's your show. You haven't talked yet. Go ahead, brother. I'll listen.
Oh, that's the thing. It's not even a show, you know. I mean, so we're conversating. I could hold off. It's all good.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say too much. It was just more about uh, where the heck was, I've been starting to lose my brain lately. Um, I guess I was gonna say something and I forgot. Must have not been that. It must have not been that important. That's why I was telling you to take it off.
It'll pop back up. I
Okay.
also
Yeah,
have
Probably.
something to add to
Uh,
all of
uh,
that. It's also what you ask for. Sometimes you don't realize what you're asking for, and you're asking for something like some knowledge or some help or, a need to be fulfilled. It's not handed to you on a silver platter. It's like, here's your shield, here's your sword, go get it.
And
yeah.
Prop, I wanted to thank you for something because
Hmm.
kind of going off of what Phantom just said, this helps this format helps me structure my ideas a little bit more because I am very scatterbrained and I like to word vomit. There, if I didn't have my mic muted, you guys would have heard me so many times, like saying something back right after somebody said something. It's good for me to have my mic muted because I like to word vomit and like respond to things, but it actually helps me stir it around a little bit and I go, okay, how should I phrase this a little bit better? But I appreciate the way you do this. It helps me conceive my thoughts a little bit better.
Yeah, I've been to your channel a lot, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Just trying to do something positive here. I'm happy. The guidelines is actually helping. At least something in there helps somebody.
I
Um,
was scared at first when I first read the guidelines. I was definitely hesitant, but then Mud Rabbit
yeah,
talked me into it, and I'm like, all right, this is growing on me. It definitely helps.
yeah, yeah. There's other people that's been against it too, and some of the people they can't help but to come here because they got caught onto the stream. You know, you can't. You have to watch it. You know, listen to it. But yeah, thank you for just going through with it and being here, man. You're adding to it to the broadcast. What I was going to say, I've heard some flat earthers say that people wearing face masks, they're just trying to shut us up. Like, really, they're trying to shut us up by telling us to wear.
They
Are you
always
kidding?
put masks on slaves. And they just admitted it. Somebody just came out and they're going after the perpetrators, but they just came out and admitted that this was an exercise to see what percentage of the population would be obedient.
Oh
The
man, I
whole
don't know.
mess, the 6
It's
feet, yeah, the whole bit.
it, it's it's just like okay, maybe some people. Well, okay, I don't know. I don't
I
Well,
know.
can
wasn't
I don't get it.
obedient. I was a rebel.
I
do you
don't get it.
guys ever? I don't remember this, but I talked to somebody the other day, and okay, maybe I should just put in the private chat. You tell me. You tell me if I should say a prop.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you think? What do you think
I
of
think it's a
that? I just put in the
compliance.
private. I put in the private because I don't want prop getting in trouble.
Oh no, that's fine. That topic is cool.
Are you sure, man? You might end up going missing, bro. Me or you, one of us. You talk about something like that.
Oh,
I'm not
oh
Want
trying
me
to
Here's
to
the
joke about.
conspiracy.
let me lead you into it, Phantom. I would say it has to exist because otherwise, our country wouldn't be responsible for Project Paperclip as well as the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to somebody who apparently knew people that would have that kind of info, and yeah, and then that's what she was telling me.
And it's not exactly the Catholic Church, it's the Vatican, because the Catholic churches right now aren't too happy with the Pope.
The new Pope.
Yeah.
They have well, it's interesting because they all of a sudden had a problem with him when the new Pope came out talking about aliens and I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. I was like, well, that's something you'd want a religious figure to say is that I don't know,
Yes.
any
Some
entity would
the
be
Catholic
fine.
organizations are not cooperating with this whole immigrant thing, but the Catholic churches, as individuals, there's many of them that are not at all happy with the Pope.
The
They
Vatican's like
talking
its own
about
country.
Francis?
It's
Yeah.
wild.
Is it Pope Francis or is it
Yeah.
somebody newer than that?
Pope
Oh,
Francis.
yeah.
And he's on the way out. He's so sick.
I guess
Yeah,
we'll
he's
change the topic. That's up to you. I mean, you
All
can finish. You
roads
can finish.
lead to.
But no, I would say NASA. Like if you talk about NASA, I would say Warner von Braun was a real thing, and like we can point to that guy, and we know he came over and helped us with rocket technology, and like I know where our rocket technology is at today, and I would say because I was actually talking to somebody about this when they were asking about security clearance for somebody like Elon Musk, and I was like, well, he's had top security clearance for quite some time. I think me and Mud Rabbit talked about this. He he's got some of the most advanced
Well,
rocket
he builds
technology
our
of anybody.
rockets now.
They don't want
We
him
we
giving information to other countries.
Yeah, we can't depend on NASA anymore because they're not improving on their rockets. I mean, I live very close there. And when you go on a tour, all the rockets are still the same. And when you look at some of these things up close, you wonder how they functioned. So yeah, he's doing all the building now of our rockets. It's NASA's probably not going to last very long.
Just real fast. Didn't mean to jump in like that, but this is the channel of the guy named Moneybags. I haven't been here. I don't. It's in a long time. This is the first time I've been here in a long time. He usually talking about MEs, but it looks like he has videos up of anybody else in the chat familiar with this channel here? Um, but anyway, I met a lot of people online through this channel. But anyway, he used to talk about MEs a lot, but he has a lot of and we're talking about some of this stuff here right now that he has, like drones, he said, what's going on in the skies. Um, I don't know if this has anything to do with the ME, but what do y'all think about that? Drones, all this stuff, does it have anything to do with a different dimension or
I
reality or
think
something?
we have two factions. One is trying to keep us in the old frequency, and the other one is trying to help break us free. And I think some of them are neutral, some of them are in favor, and some of them are against us. So it's not just so cut and dried.
No, what I'm saying is, with all the things going on, like drones, like nobody's talking about it now, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
those are all side
And
effects.
and so it's like, uh, what was I saying now? The orbs are the aliens shooting the drones out of the sky, and now I don't hear nothing about it. I heard a guy say, a guy with a suit on say that they're coming from an Iranian mothership. A mothership? He actually gonna say a mothership, huh? Right?
No, that was the propaganda. That was
So
senator or something said that.
yeah, so it's just like a lot of, but anyway, these things, I guess, has happened. People are talking about fog, with stuff in the fog and all this stuff. Like, what's going on here, you know?
Okay, I got a photograph of one of those things, and it was hovering like maybe two properties back. And it was definitely an orb. It was not a drone. It was nighttime, but drones don't have a light like that. I'm wondering, I don't know what it is. At first, I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be mechanical. That's the logical brain kicks in and tries to reason it away. So I grabbed my phone, I took a picture of it, and I zoomed in, and that's all you can see is this ball of light. And I've heard in the past that these things in one dimension, they'll look like something entirely different. But in our dimension, this is how they present as balls of light to us. This is what we see. That's why when they fire at them, nothing happens.
If something was higher dimensional, and coming down to our dimension, we wouldn't be able to perceive it in its entirety.
Exactly. But we'd see the energy of it, and that's what we're seeing.
But me and you were talking about this, Mud Rabbit, with
Yeah.
planes, trains, and automobiles, and all of because train derailments, planes, helicopters, cars driving on their own. Like we were talking about this, it's like we're at that most advanced point in our technological breakthrough, and all of a sudden, our trains, our coal-powered trains, aren't working the same way, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't. But for some reason, we're having derailments all of a sudden. I don't think that makes any sense. I don't think we
I
can.
think
I don't know if we can add it to anything else or what we can
I think
point to
some
the
of those
contribute or if it's a
derailments were
distraction.
I think some of those were intentional sabotage, but there was a time, and it was in my lifetime, that these things didn't have computers in them. Cars didn't have computers in them. My last car was a stick shift, and I wanted the car to be fully manual. But now everything has a computer chip, right down to your refrigerator. That's control. That's outside control of something you paid for.
And
Now
it's something we had.
you can't even work on your own car. I used to love to get out there with the guys with a V8 engine, change the oil, change the tires, do something, you know, have the hood up. Everybody's on the driveway. Now you can't, even in the warranties, it says you can't work on your car.
I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier. We were talking about how hard it is to get a hold of older vehicles because I was talking
Mm-hmm.
about my first vehicle that I bought outright for $600 and just it lasted me a year. I bought an '82 El Camino for my first car, and we were talking about cash for clunkers. I think it happened in about 2008.
Yeah,
I want to say it was during the Obama administration,
yeah, it was
but
cash
they
for
did this
clunkers.
thing where there the cars that had high gas mileage per how much gas you were putting in them. You could turn them in, and the government would give you money for those vehicles. And then what happened was when they got the vehicles in the junkyards and stuff like that, they poured cement into the engines to make them unusable anymore. And so they basically took all of these old used cars off the market. It's kind of crazy what they did to make us have to be in modern technology. I think I did mine. I think the one that I turned in was a Dodge Neon,
Yeah,
which was actually
it makes you
pretty gas
dependent on
efficient.
them. Yeah, this is fascism. This is the corporations forcing you to be dependent on them. Gone are the days where you can go out and change your own oil or fix your own car, or change your own filters. I mean, heck, these are things even I learned how to do. And nowadays, women don't know what to do when their car breaks down. What's going on? They're dumbing us down bit by bit. They're making us more dependent on them. It's not just that. It's your refrigerator, it's your stove, it's anything that's modern in your house.
I also wondered this with technology. When we give technology the ability to do all of these, what we would consider mundane tasks, changing our oil, stuff like that, then I'm just thinking about the improvement of cars where it tells you when to get an oil change. It tells you when your tire pressure is low. It's enabling you to be able to do this on your own over a certain period of time. You're no longer able to go out and check your own tire pressure. You're no longer able to, like, if those sensors are off,
Right. You
people don't
forget how to
know what
do
they're
it.
doing. Yeah. It's so weird. And then if you cascade that over 30 years, you have generations that no longer know what they're doing with a vehicle. It's so strange.
Exactly. I'll give you a better example, cursive writing. They've dumbed our kids down to the point where my grandchildren can't read cursive writing. Well, neither can AI. So everybody learns to print.
I think that I have a love-hate with cursive writing. I think it's fun and I think it's artistic and I think it's great. But when it comes down to people's individual handwriting, like I can read any woman's cursive, but if you have a man write cursive, it doesn't matter how old he is. It's almost it's almost impossible to read. And I think it just comes down to handwriting. Printing's almost better because
No,
you can actually see what people.
this used to be part of our curriculum. You learned how to print in first and second grade, actually starting in kindergarten. And you were
Yeah.
also instructed on how to do it neatly. In third grade, you started learning how to write cursive, but then you also had a class in handwriting for a semester so that you learned how to write properly. They don't have these classes anymore. They don't teach the kids how to properly hold the pencil, how to read, so they don't get that pain in the wrist. They don't teach these things anymore. They don't teach civics anymore. And they're slowly eliminating the arts.
It's because I think it was kind of pushed as a ruse. Like, it was actually pushed with the ruse of when people started having checking accounts and checks because they told you, oh, you could only sign your name in cursive and blah, blah, blah. I remember when I learned cursive because they still taught it in schools when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I'm 35. I had to think about it. I'm 35, and they taught it in school and told us that was the only way you were going to be able to sign your checks. And it's just like, no, your signature can be whatever you want it to be. Yeah. I mean, and it's weird that they would get you into the pattern of doing it exactly how they wanted you to do it.
Yeah.
If you think that in a large scale, it's just like if everybody's signature was exactly the same and everybody made their letters the same, would signatures be that valid?
Yeah, I have something to jump in real quick. Sorry, my rabbit. That's a good segue to what I was asking about the whole mask thing. They're trying to shut us up. It's just like if you wear one, it's up to you, right? It's up to you to how you want to go about it, you know? And if a person's like, how are you going to shut up anyway with just a mat? Like, I know what you said, Mud Rabbit, that was back then, but it's still a society still, right? But how can you actually train somebody to shut up just from wearing a fabric over their face?
You make them sick.
And it's their decision to do it or not, right?
You
It's their
make them
decision.
sick. Wearing that mask, you get pneumonia. You're breathing in the bacteria users breathed out. This is the pharmaceuticals and the corporates working together to generate more cash out of you or your insurance. But those things make you sick.
What I'm saying is, how does it make a person not talk about nothing? It's like, okay, let me say this. If they're trying to shut us up, right? You're going to have to talk somewhere in your life, right? You're going to have to talk somewhere, even if you have one on. So how is it shutting you up from what, talking about politics or something, or anything specific, or just in general?
The first thing they do before they start to censor you is they try to bring your health down. They make you depressed. They've taken, if you notice McDonald's, they've taken away all the colorful buildings that McDonald's used to have, and now they're just these boxes. You know, the architecture's leaning more toward brutalism. First, they work on your psyche. Excuse me. And then once they break you down, they work on you through your diet and your health. And then when you hit a low point, how are you going to fight back?
Isn't it on the person too, though? Like, say, for instance, us here, we've taken initiative to have these conversations,
Mm-hmm.
to try to go about things in a positive way. And then, like you said, there's some people that are asleep or whatever. And maybe even me. I'm not going to say that I'm fully awoke or something like that. I'm still working on myself, but I know enough to navigate, like you said earlier, cascade through things a little bit more better. But some people don't know that. They're just growing up. They're just learning. So those are the people that will probably get caught up in all the tailspin, correct? If that makes any sense.
Those are the people that won't take it well. And then there's me. Let me tell you, when this started, what was it, 8 years now? 2016, 2016 it started. Actually, earlier than that, with 2015 with Karen Hudes. I've been on a high, to be honest with you, because I have been one of these people that's been labeled a space cadet, a conspiracy theorist all my life, to the point where I've just gotten used to it and it doesn't even bother me anymore. But when you see what's been happening down through the ages, and everybody's going to experience this as they get older. You see Kennedy get shot, you see Kent State, you see Martin Luther King, you start seeing all these things happen one after the other, all the way up to 9/11, and you're going, whoa. And then while it's all happening, you're telling people, pay attention, look at this. This is what's I see it's going on. They're like, nah, they don't want to hear it because they want to stay asleep. They want to stay in their own little world.
Well, to be honest, that's kind of how I am too. I know what's going on and this and that and the
Yeah.
other. And I know what people are saying, and I know that I can't even trust the people I've been close to. So I can't really trust people I don't really know
Right.
and what they're saying. So I gotta make a decision and try to cascade through this and navigate the best way I think is best for me. Even if I'm e-
Sometimes
e-
just
e-
absorbing the information and mulling it over. You don't have to agree. Just soak it
mhm.
in and think on it.
That's what I do. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then this whole I've heard if you're wearing a mask, you're an idiot. Well, what about the younger ones that's wearing the mask? Are they an idiot too? Are the people that the saving your life in the hospital, they're wearing the mask? Are they an idiot too? Why are they an idiot? Because they're wearing one? I
This is the
mean,
dance I do in my head prop is how many people am I supposed to stay around and help because I think they just didn't get the information yet? And how many of them are just going to be left behind regardless of if I try to help?
You have to feel bad for them. Shift
well,
gears from thinking they're idiots to thinking that you pity them because they haven't gained that knowledge, and look at what they have to go through now.
I'm not thinking of nobody as being an idiot. I'm thinking about the people that's calling them an idiot. That's what I'm talking
Right,
about.
right. Well,
Yeah.
then those people have a problem because it's their egos getting in the way. Me, I look at these people and I think how sad. I wish I could tell them, take the damn thing off. Don't wear it. You're going to make yourself sick. But, you can't. You're going to start an argument and it's going to get them all upset.
Okay,
One
what
is
about the people in oh, sorry about that. People in hospitals. I just want to throw that in there real quick. They've been wearing. They do it for a career. Are they getting sick?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to what's pushed as the public perception of it. It's just like when the public perception is both extremes. One person thinks you're saving lives, and the other person thinks you're an idiot. Then it's hard for that individual to find the middle ground. But of course, they're going to gravitate towards the side that is the echo chamber that fits them more. They want to think that they're saving lives. They want to think that they're helping people. They want to think that they're doing the right thing. They want to think they're the good or the positive, but they don't actually know if they are. They're just going with the best information that they've gathered.
Are you talking about what I just mentioned, the people in the hospitals that work there? Is that what you're
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah. Any situation. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if they're people in a hospital that have had doctors around them that tell them that it's beneficial for them, and they see other doctors doing it, or if they are out on the streets and they see other people doing it, and they're told by the news that this is helping and this is like you're a good person for doing this. You know,
I
it's
used to have a
the
doctor.
perception of it.
Doctors back in the day were more family doctors and they knew you well. Now, with insurance companies, the doctors that are coming into the field now, the younger ones, it's the license, the insurance, and the malpractice. That's what they're focused on. They have to toe the line medically through their studies, and they have to learn a specific thing or they don't get their license. So now they get their license. Well, if they go against the board and prescribe something that's outside of it, the insurance is going to come back and charge that, tell them we're not paying for it. That customer's got to pay 5 times as much. Now the pharmaceuticals kick in. Now he doesn't have insurance. They can charge you 10 times as much for a 3-cent pill. It's a racket. It's a freaking racket. My grandfather went to medical school, and this is back in the 30s, and he was so disillusioned with it that he went into chiropractic and natural medicines and supplements, things like that, because he firmly believed that a lot of the medicines, because back then they started making your medicines with petroleum, and he firmly believed that those were going to kill people, and they are.
So let me bring it back to what you were saying, Prop. When I work out, I use a mask that is a high altitude training mask. It takes in less oxygen than if I didn't have it on, and I use it to strengthen my lungs. I only use it when I'm working out, and I know it restricts my oxygen intake and my breathing intake, but it's for benefits.
You wash it
Hey,
though, right?
Waters, I've been meaning to try that one. How's it working out for you, that one?
It works good. I usually do it in high heat and high humidity environments because um, it's the best way to do it. And yeah, Mud Rabbit, it's got filters that you have to wash at high temperatures because and this also could be tied into what was it, claustrophobia, or I don't remember what it used to be, but we used to have patients breathe into a bag to calm them and recycle that air and bring it back into them. I can't remember what the treatment was for. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? Where they used to have people breathe into a paper bag and just say, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
take deep
Yeah,
breaths
when
and
you're
recycle your air."
hyperventilating,
Yeah.
you're getting too much oxygen. It's happened to me before. So what they try to do is balance the carbon dioxide. So you're
So,
rebreathing the carbon dioxide because you're getting too much oxygen.
so I just pointed to two positive things that we could point to with recycling air into yourself and also wearing a mask. So you can find positive things about it, but I also think just with anything in the world, you can find negative things about it. You can abuse
That's my
anything.
point. Yeah, yeah. And plus, everybody's body's different too, right? I was assume not everybody's going to get sick for doing the same exact thing, I guess. Um,
Well, we all do
uh,
different things and we all have different nutritional needs. We're all different blood types. We're all different body types. And as much as the woke hates to admit it, we're different sexes, only two. So men have certain things they need in their diets that women don't, and vice versa. Guys need to avoid soy in all of its forms.
Yeah, that's
okay.
why I stay away from tofu
Yeah,
and soybeans and stuff like that.
yeah, and soy oils. Just stay away from seed oils, period. You can get a 42-ounce can of Wagyu beef tallow for like $30, and that's so much healthier than seed oils.
Yeah,
So,
I got some beef tallow actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's up, prop? Prop, you were gonna say something.
oh no, no, my bad. I was gonna reintroduce the mind back here.
Yeah, I'm back, and I could finally answer the other guy's question when he said, I forgot the question it was when you asked me how I felt like if I was shifting or what that means for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
explaining your shift.
yeah. I was just wondering if you can kind of go in depth because I was telling Mud Rabbit that I've noticed a change in me. Mostly when I've changed my life around and I started doing what I was supposed to do, but I started feeling the alignment, started feeling the wrong people being removed from my life, just everything. But I was wondering if you can explain yours. What do you mean by that? We can go in
Yeah,
depth.
I definitely would have to say the whatever that had to be a similar trigger for me. Whatever caused me to jump into another dimension of reality, like the actual thing, had to do with the choices that I was making, and it does sound very similar to what you're saying because I have been having a lot of plans in my life, and I have been wanting to do a lot of things, and I have just been recently deciding to do it, to actually start pursuing these dreams that I have. And I kind of realized by associating myself with, my friends, the people I used to relate to, I kind of realized like, hey, there are a lot of characteristics that me and this guy share that I necessarily don't like at all. And I never
Mm-hmm.
realized. Like, I felt like recently I just went through what they call the dark night of the soul. Like, I came to some realizations about myself that I made me want to change, and I have changed. I am changing, and for the better.
You
And
got
yeah,
to
I
know
think,
thyself.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got to know thyself. I'll tell you this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mud Rabbit, but sorry, the Mind. You guys got similar names, the Mud Rabbit and the Mind. Uh,
I'm
but
cool. Go ahead.
but what I would wanted to tell you is this is, and we're all being honest beings here, right? This is what makes it beautiful. But this used to be me. Whenever people would make mistakes, this used to be me. Oh, but I'd never make that mistake, right? And then when other people would make other type of wrongs or other sins or whatever, and I got my own, I'm like hiding my sins, and I'm like, yeah, I'd never do what they're doing. I'd never do, like I would, and I didn't see it.
Yeah,
I didn't see
sometimes
it.
you see them later, don't you?
You see them later, right? And it's like
Yeah.
you could have maybe even given me a mirror at the time, and I would have never saw it.
Yeah,
But
those are the
but
times you sit there and think, God, I was such an idiot, you know?
yeah, exactly, right? And so like a lot of maturing, a lot of changing, but yeah, to add to the brother's point, I found that to me, yeah, it was easier to see my own faults through other people. And then it became very, very clear that that's the whole purpose of it was, is that I wasn't getting the lessons. I wasn't learning them. I kept going back over and over and never getting it. And then finally, it's like it hit me. It's like, all right, if you're gonna see it in other people. But then it's like, then I started focusing on myself. So now I'm just being honest with you now. Like I got very philosophical with it to the point I actually judge nobody. I'm kind of like a buzzkill. Like if you start, complaining about other people to me, I'll be a listener, but I'm probably going to be annoying to like vent off to because it's like I'm so focused on only judging thyself as in myself. Um, so yeah, I think me and you have had a similar change around the same time, which I find that very interesting. I find that very interesting. Um, so that's really cool, man. It's
Um,
good to meet you, man. Yeah, it's good to meet you,
it,
bro.
it's good to meet you, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're talking right now. I do believe we do move in soul groups. Like, there are a group of us who are moving together, and we're experiencing similar things together. And I don't think or anything is coincidence.
I don't
Mm.
either. I don't either. When Mud Rabbit was saying it earlier, that nothing's a coincidence. I can't agree with that anymore. That's exactly how it's been. So you're gonna say something, prop? Think I cut you off.
Oh no, it's okay. And I was gonna say I'm right with y'all. I lost some friends along the way, just recently, and
It's
so it's hard for me to.
reason, season, lifetime. Some people are with you for a reason, some people are with you for a season, and some people are with you for a lifetime.
But you know what's hard about that is that knowing them since middle school, and things like that, and you
Yeah,
that like the mindset, the person becomes kind of like he didn't say this, but kind of like the person becomes like a part of you. Like you notice certain things that mannerisms and things like this.
yeah, but
But
maybe your contract was up. I mean, I had a friend from kindergarten and we were friends well into our teens. And then one day it was just, I think it was when I got married, your life changes and that person, it's not that you chose not to see them anymore or they chose not to see you, it's their life changed as much as yours did. I got married, she got a boyfriend, and then she got engaged, so she was focused on other things and we just grew apart. If it's
yeah,
meant for you to go back and get in touch with them years later, then the thought will occur to you,
I'm
they're
you know
always
as
there.
as of now, one of those cats I'm good because when I got married, which I'm divorced now, and that's why I'm kind of anyway below my usual standards at this point. Not standards. Y'all know what I mean. Going through this whole thing. Anyway, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but you go off and you do that, and you build your own family and things like that. But it's harder too. At least for me, it was when you realize, somebody that was stabbing you in the back all this time.
Yeah, it's
The
especially
biggest,
hard when it's a partner because now even your lifestyle has to change.
I
But
would
I'll
say the
Well,
tell
yeah,
you,
biggest
my
thing.
partner. Yeah.
I'll tell you guys this. This is what I've realized. I mean, maybe you guys can all give me your theories on it. I've come to the realization that yeah, like how do I say this in a more diplomatic way? But I haven't really been around like uh, like people like okay. I guess I know that we pick our reality. Like we want all these lessons and we've manifested everything. But it's like I would always believe that the friends I wanted were people who would treat me the way I've treated everybody, which is just being kind and loving and caring. And it seems like that's not the people I ever run into. It's people who, honest to God, I want to rip their heads off, every single one of them.
Well, they're not
And
going to
I'm
be my friend.
right,
I
right.
mean,
Well,
you meet people and you think they're really nice, and then you go out and have a drink with them, and you find out what they're really like on the inside, and it's like, oh no,
it's
not that one.
it's a lot, right? But
Yeah.
I've then come to a realization why I'd run into these, and it would be all kinds of people, even people you work with or whatever. But then I really come to it. It's like I said, wait a sec, man. I've never asked for like I'm very prideful, and pride is not a pride is a sin, obviously, but I'd be like very prideful in a way where it's like I'd want it to be hard, not easy. And it's like I could look back and I'd say, you know what? As like a introverted philosopher type of individual, yeah, I don't think I ever wanted like a normal life, and I think it makes sense that I wanted these lessons because I do consider myself like somewhat of like a sociologist, like where I observe society, and yeah, it makes 100% sense that I'm gonna need these type of people to come come and go through my life where
Yeah, I
they
think it
teach me.
happens. I think it happens across the board. We make our best friends when we're young. I mean, me and my circle of girlfriends, we've known each other since we were in our early 20s. One of them since we were in our teens. But they're never far away, if you get what I mean. We can go 3 years without talking to anybody, pick up the phone and talk. It's like we spoke yesterday. But you find as you get older, making friends is further apart. You don't meet as many people that you want to be friends with. You tend to compare them to the group that you're originally friends with. And they either fit or they don't. So the older you get, the less apt you are to make close friends. You'll make acquaintances everywhere, but close friends, no.
I think all relationships are meant to be a learning experience. It doesn't matter if they're
Yeah,
positive or negative. You took something away from it. It's nice that you called them lessons, Phantom.
yeah.
And to tie this back to what Prop was saying, um, the biggest thing about losing somebody in your life, at least for me, is knowing if I got the lessons that I'm supposed to learn. Because you somebody's with you for a period of time, you either decide to engage or you decide not to, and from there you're able to learn from it, whether it's a negative or a positive. It works with your parents, it works with a relationship that you have with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it works in like work situations. You learn how to navigate those situations better. Even if it was a negative one, you go, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm not going to surround myself with this, or I need to talk this way when people are addressing me like this. And I think they're all just life's tests to make sure that you're navigating it right, and that you still, I don't know, still have your head on your shoulders in the long run of it.
The little walls you bump into along the path.
Exactly.
There's always that one negative person at work that you just avoid.
I
Let
would
me
like to
ask you
jump
this.
in here. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. It's all
Okay.
good.
I would like to jump in here and say I do always feel like I've had an issue um, when it came to making friends, just because of this whole in group thing that tends to occur. I always had an issue with. I always had this issue with the 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 in group
Fitting in.
forming no, just this in group, this thing where in groups form, and they will completely isolate a perfectly good, perfect, normal person, but just because there's like this whole little social dynamics that got established prior, there's just like
Your
this
frequency
automatic.
doesn't match. Your frequency doesn't match theirs. And the outward expression of it is that they're avoiding you.
Divine, I've been to your channel. I would think you have 100 women at your front door, man. A pause, by the way.
Why, is he a cutie?
I've had this issue from both sides of the thing though. Like I had issues where I will be in not being rejected by anybody. I will be completely in the in group, but still I will have there will be people who I feel should be
Yeah.
accepted in the group, but
Yeah.
everybody will be like, no, no, this and that. It it does to a certain extent. Human social dynamics. It does play a what we say and what we think does have a part to play in the social dynamics. Like people get manipulated by what others say and what others think. It definitely energy is a thing, but yeah, that's it. I do agree with that. Energy is a thing. I just feel like I don't like it. I don't like the social manipulation because this is a thing that happens. Like we stop being honest with ourselves, and then we start going into this thing where we start saying, well, what would they think about me in this situation, instead of just honestly experiencing the situation for what it is. You start thinking about what does this group think about how I'm reacting to this, instead of just naturally being in the moment.
I think when you're
That,
young, that can be a focus, but as you grow older, that becomes less of an issue, wondering what other people think.
well, and I think it has a lot to do with like I like to tie everything into relationships. That's establishing your own boundaries and what you want out of relationships, because you should never compromise your boundaries to get into any other group. Your boundaries should just be your boundaries or any other relationship. So if like when I was younger, of course I wanted to fit in with all the cool kids, but I found myself in multiple cliques, in multiple groups, because one didn't just fit me all the time. Sometimes I was cool with those people. Sometimes I was off doing my own thing. And it's just like, I don't think I don't think anybody necessarily wants to accommodate to a group just to fit in.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I ever told you guys the story of I had this one Catholic friend in my life who yeah, I pretty much don't talk to this person anymore because they were trying hard to convert me to being a Catholic, and I wasn't having it. And yeah, that's I think one of the cool lessons I learned in that is that I said, well, that's what I don't want to be. I don't want to be someone trying to shove my beliefs down other people's throats. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that person's tried reconnecting a few times, and they did more recently at the end of last year, but they haven't changed. And that was about a year and a half after we stopped talking, and I didn't see much change. And then they tried again, more recently, and I'm just ignoring the calls now. But yeah, it's um, again, like I said, I've been dealt an interesting hand, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all, and I know I pretty much asked for these lessons, so yeah, I just
Okay.
shared that in case I didn't share that story before.
I don't know. I think we just met too, me and you. So I would like to mention this because I do mention this a lot because I feel like this is a big thing that's going to end up uh being a subject, being the next like subject matter. I don't know. Mushroom computers, biological computing, like this whole race for AI and artificial intelligence. I think it's transitioning into more of a biological playing field. So from what I've seen, I think that's where this whole transhumanism thing might be going down. Yeah, and I know it's hard. For me, I think it's weird. I don't know what to focus on sometimes because I do think of what Mud Rabbit says. Like it kind of what you're focusing on kind of will have effect on. Did you say that Mud Rabbit? Like your energy. Uh, if you
Energy
think
energy flows where attention goes. That's the rule of
yes,
the third energy center. What you focus on, you bring to yourself. When people are depressed and they focus on negative thoughts, they generate more negative thoughts. When you're in a positive mood and you're doing something constructive, it leads to something else constructive. And by the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something and you're energetic. Even if you're tired, you have that energy like, wow, I only meant to do this today and I managed to do B, C, and E as well. It's like it affects your energy. It really does. And so do the people that you surround yourself with. And sometimes it's just best to not be around people at all. Sometimes there's some people out there, and I'm one of them, where we like our solitude. I could spend a month at home as long as I got enough groceries and not go anywhere, not have anybody over, not call anybody, not text anybody. I could really get into that every now and again. It kind of cleanses you. It gets you away from all the energy of the shared reality. It's less of a drain. And some people need that.
Mind, let me ask you this: do you know what our highways and interstates are designed off of?
well, I know it's not fungi, but I do know you're probably going to refer the Japanese experiment they did with doing. They made some. Uh, they made like a model based off of some fungal growth, right?
Yeah, the connections in mycelium are very similar to the structures that we design our interstates and our highways off of, because the connections make the most sense by nature. And if
Is
we're going
efficient.
to, yeah, and I think we've been adapting this for a long period of time. And yeah, I think it's definitely moving in that direction that you were talking about.
Yeah, NASA. I mean, I've said this before. NASA, DARPA recently has jumped on it. Um, there's a couple of different countries around the world who are finally seeing the potential in fungi. But I do think there is good potential, but I also feel like there is bad. There, like with great good great responsibility, they say comes great power or something along those lines. And there is a lot of potential in the fungal technology. But what I was trying to say was sometimes I just don't know how to respond to things because I do know some people they will say like if you focus on this thing then you manifest it more. But and then I think like hey, there's bad stuff happening in the world and it's up to us to respond and react to it. And
Well, there's a difference between ruminating on something and being fearful of it or just trying to think through a dilemma. There's a big difference there. And that has to do with your state of mind at the time. You know, you can ruminate on something in the state of fear, worried that it's going to happen to you. But on this biotechnical thing, I think we're going to get to a point where we've all scientists have already discovered that our brain is a computer. We're already biotechnical. We're already that. It's just the powers that be are trying to figure out how to hijack it. I mean, Jacob said earlier about the simulation thing. If that's a fact, then we're already a computer. We're in a computer in a simulation. Our brain is the computer, and our hands, our arms, our legs are the instrument, like the mouse and the pointer and all that stuff that we use to move through this system. Because if you look at how the human body is built with all the blood vessels and all the neurons and all the nerves going up and down the spinal column, how that's even formed, this is a biological computer. It's a mainframe. The hard drive is in our head. It's just wet. It's not dry, it's wet.
yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think they're gonna try to hijack the body, and they're working on figuring out like how to
Now that can be
control.
used for good. That, I mean, it has to be in the right hands. And I'll argue both sides here because I am very much against getting a chip just for the heck of it. I think that's the wrong thing to do. But I have a brother with a severe head trauma who's losing the ability to walk on his own. And I think something like this would be helpful for people in that situation. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think there's potential for it. I uh, I personally, like I've said, as one of the actual first people who proposed the idea to the scientific community, just I just feel a little robbed of like my my contributions, and I don't really see them. I do see a very good future where this can be a good thing for sure. Uh, yeah, that's it. And I'm just I'm trying to think. I want to start a tribe. That's what I want to do. I want to start up a tribe of where people can go and we can just. I want to just grow food. Like if I could do anything,
You
I
want a
would want to grow.
homestead. That's what I'm doing. Just do it. You don't need a tribe of people to do it. Depending on where you're at, you just got to know the growing seasons. All you need is a plot. And if you live in an apartment, all you need are those large plastic pots from Home Depot, and you can grow things in those. Do it. I mean, you'd be surprised. When we bought this place, there was nothing in the yard. And I've already got 5 gardens going, and we're already at harvest season for the roots and the tomatoes. And my neighbors are taking notice, and I'm sharing stuff with them because I've got way too many turnips. And they're amazed. Now they want to do it. Now my neighbor on one side wants to do chickens. So it spreads by meme. They see you doing it. So be the example and go ahead and do it on your own. And pretty soon the people that vibe with that will start showing an interest in asking you questions. And now you've got 2 people. You see what I mean? I've got a whole co-op of ladies in my text now. We're all in this somehow chicken group because I bought 5 chicks from this woman and I'm loving it. We're all
I
asking
agree
each
with
other
you though, Bob.
questions. Yeah, just get into it, just do it.
Computers or machines can be mechanical or organic,
Yeah,
and I think
we're
because
organic.
the systems are the same. It's just a matter of what components you're using to make up the system, and I think it's easy to have an organic machine just as it is to have a robotic one.
Yeah, Go-Kart's been saying in the chat here, I have it on the panel. He said that there's computer chips that run on blood. I never heard of anything of such, but have y'all?
Well, a computer mainframe, you've got to oil certain parts like the fan, things like that. I mean, we need lubricant in our body. It's just not the same thing as what an actual hard laptop uses. But we all
Does it?
have our components. We have the nervous system, it has the electrical system, and our nerves carry the electrical through our body.
Yep. But
I would.
what he's saying is that actual computer chips that run on blood,
Ours
not
does.
but what he's saying is that for machines that we use is from what I'm gathering,
Oh, I'm
right?
pretty
Let me.
sure they've figured out a way to get it to work with, human
Oh,
DNA or whatnot. I mean,
let me
people are experimenting on things we have no clue about.
let me correct myself. I read that wrong. You responded to his question correctly. I read that wrong. I thought he was talking about actual like computers, other computers running on blood. Um,
Well, let me
go ahead.
double down on kind of what Bob said. So what I guess I would define what is a computer chip because we're thinking about it on a mechanical level. If Do we put altered DNA inside of our bodies?
Well, I don't think that's a good idea, to be honest. But yeah, I think where this computer technology is going down the lines with the met with the powers that want to be, what they're doing is, yeah, there is supposedly some technology. Some genetic engineering going on. This is what I was saying way back when the mandanimals, quote unquote, was happening, and we were seeing these changes in animals. I was saying, hey, people, let's not forget humanity is still a thing. People
Yeah,
are doing things still. It's not just all nothing but supernatural phenomenons. There's genetic engineering going on. People are.
yeah. Bob brought up a very interesting subject. I saw that in the news, and it wasn't just blood and DNA. They had cloned. I mean, they were cloning on mice ears and things like this, but on something they had cloned a mouth and put a chip in it. And they could make the lips move, they could make the mouth move. It was just the mouth. It was really creepy. But yeah, that's what they're doing in China and have been doing for a couple of decades.
Well, and we
So what?
also know if we know what viruses are, viruses can have DNA themselves, and so in similar is RNA, and we put these things into our body voluntarily or prescribed, like when like if you happen to conceive any virus that actually has a unique strand of DNA to it. So it's like, okay, while we are absorbing other DNAs, the question is, do they have the ability to alter us? And do all of them or just do some of them? And how do we know which ones can actually alter us?
I don't know. That's a good topic to come back on because they're going 4 hours now. I think the mind one. You want to say something real quick?
No, yeah, we could definitely talk about this all day. It's an open topic. There's a lot going on, and yeah, we have all however long to discuss this because I really don't know. I have all night really. I could talk all night, but we I don't know where to go from here really. I do feel like we need to focus. Like when it comes to this Mandela stuff, there's a thing we need to focus on, and every person has different tasks. Like we are all not meant to do the same thing. But I think for a group of us, I think if we all have a similar task that we need to achieve, I think if a certain group of us need to do that, we should come together and do that task. Uh, yeah, that's okay. I don't have much to say. I'm kind of rambling.
Well, we're doing that by
Mm.
coming together here. We're
I
putting
agree.
out information that people
Yes.
can take into their lives and utilize and pass on to other people.
Okay,
Yep.
for me, I'm thinking more specific. Like I'm an inventor. I'm working on a generator. I want to make a generator. But yeah, I definitely want to share a generator. When I get it going, I'm going to share it with the public. But that's what I was saying. Like a group of inventors. Like I'm an inventor. I want to find more inventors. Let's come on, inventors. Let's get together. Let's start building some stuff. I know I'm not the only one. That's what I was thinking. Something along those lines.
Yeah, this channel, you can always come on here if you want to have anything you want to, you want to showcase. You're welcome to come up here.
Yeah,
Uh,
thermal. I got a thermoelectric generator. Magnetic generator in the works, and yeah, that's it. The mushroom computer. Those were the three technologies I feel are that I've been working on and I feel are important. But yeah, I'm done. That's my thing.
yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, yeah. Come on back. We're live every Monday. Telling everybody this every Monday at 5:15 p.m. PST here on my channel. Some people are watching this through Jacob's channel right now. Um, but yeah, you're welcome to come through. You could be on the panel if you follow the guidelines in the description box of the stream. Anything anybody want to say? Noelle, you want to say something real quick before we bounce?
She might be listening to something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's probably listening to my new album that's out. I'm just, yeah.
Well,
All right, yeah.
everybody, I will say have a good week and I'll see you next Monday. Much love, everybody.
See you,
Much
Mud
love, Mud
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Bye bye.
All right,
Take
all right,
care.
peace. Thank you.
Nice talking to
Okay, bye.
everybody.
All right,
Yeah,
that'll be
thank you.
all for me as well then. Thanks,
All right,
Pop.
all right,
Take
no
it
problem.
easy.
Thank you. Peace. All right. Hey, thank you, man, Jacob, for coming through, man, and always smile at everybody in the chat. T Phoenix. Hey, thank you for your knowledge there, Jacob. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, anytime, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, peace. All right. Mm. And Noelle, thank you for being here. I don't think she's here, but she's here. So let's see here. All right, thank you everybody for being a part of this here. Let's see here. What do we got? Going into Chizat real fast. Much love. T Phoenix Tarot, thank you. Group Hug, Mud Rabbit, thank you. Group Hug, thank you for the donation. Um, real fast, y'all. I'm not gonna do this because it's going on Jacob's channel right now. But thank you for the donation. I'm not gonna put the donation information out there right now, but I have it on the beginning of the stream. If you missed the beginning of the stream, wow, I went in the direction that I usually don't go, but yeah, it's yeah. But thank you. I'm pretty sure it has replay value. These streams here, as always. Good night there, Noelle. I see you. Yeah, yeah. All right then. Um, hmm, thank you so very much. Peace. I'm done rambling. Thank you everybody for your knowledge, and tune in next week. Hopefully, um, Moon will come back and Pamela's musings will come back. I haven't heard much from Pamela. She popped on and popped off, and hopefully, we can get her back here soon. And also Moonbeam as well. And Sanctuary, thank you. And blah, 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 blah. Oh, the Mind, Curse Zero, everybody. Oh, the intro, that's Max Doubts from American Zombie. I have all the credits in the description box. Oh, somebody left me a Chizat. Let me get into this real fast. Let me see here what's going on. me see. Thanks so much. Everybody's saying thank you to Mud Rabbit. Yeah, for sure. And Mud Rabbit says much love. Okay. All right, y'all. Um, hopefully I didn't bring the vibe down earlier, man. I don't usually do that, but kind of going through. I didn't want to put energy into it, but it is what it is, man. This stream helped me get my mind off of it, so I gotta get prepared. I thought I was gonna take tomorrow off, but I guess not. So, all right. I guess that's my issue, and hopefully I can clean it up so I can continue to stream. So the much help I can get, it'll be better for me, and I'll be able to stream and get all this weight off my shoulder, and my health won't be getting bad or worse, you know. All right, peace out, and once again, thank you much. Thank you. Rock steady.